Hey, what's up? Trader Tim from EminiMind doing a trade recap video. It's a day after the Fed meeting, Thursday the 21st. And the first thing you notice on the ES here is the gap down from this morning and kind of gapping down into the extension between the 50 and the 61.8. And we have already broke the opposing short like this. Seeing it up here, broke the 61.8 to the upside. So with this gap down, you're kind of gapping down into support. And so there's a good chance that we get a bounce here off of the 44.21. We'll see how the end of the day, how we close today, and then certainly open up tomorrow. But coming down into support like this, with already having broke the 61.8, I'm not overly bearish at this point. I'm not looking to sell super hard on a gap down after a move down. And so as we kind of back out a little bit and look at our trend line, we're also kind of coming back down just right to that uptrend line. So not going to get super bearish here until we start to break. Like, let's say we break this swing low next week. Then what we could do is come in and draw like a high to low. Well, let me back up actually. Breaking that swing low here is a 43.50, and if we go back to our fib, we can see that's a 43.70. So if we get a close below the 61.80 of the extension and then break this 43.50, then we could come in and draw the full halfway back short and I would look to get short there as opposed to just trying to chase a move down. And that's really the key with trading. You don't want to be caught chasing. Sometimes a move's happened and it's gone too far, and I missed it, and I'm not going to try to chase to get in. I'd rather be looking a few steps ahead at, okay, what's next. So let's go to intraday today. A couple of trades that I wanted to run through, and I guess I'll just get rid of all this junk, and we'll start here from the morning. High and low of the first 30-minute range are marked here. You can see our gap down, first 15-minute bar bearish, and then the 15-minute opening range breakout traded to the downside. I'm still in that. That's got a little bit to go before it hits its 20-point target, if it gets there. We've kind of been flattening out along the bottom of the 30-minute range, so may not get there. We'll see. But a couple of trades from this morning. The first here being, well, I guess the first one I didn't take was this little, actually we can back up even more. You've got this hammer and inverted hammer. They were so early in the day, and the opening nicey ticks were very extremely negative. So I kind of let that settle out versus trying to jump in on these first two. If you drew the first retracement sort of like that, we didn't quite make it, so you can just keep the drawing going down a little bit more. And basically we had kind of this cluster here of kind of a triple top, if you will. And that one kind of looked like right here. So with a gap down, sometimes you kind of take a little bit of time to settle out. And today we gap down, moved down the first 5 minutes, and then kind of went sideways. So I just kind of sat on my hands here through the first 15 minutes, and then at 7:10, which, well, actually, the first retracement was 7:06. That was down here at the bottom of the 30-minute range. And we put in this triple bottom. We did not have a low tick on the nicey tick, but we did have a triple bottom. And you can see on the nicey tick, look at this uptrend line that was occurring all morning. So by the time we got to 7:06, which is here, this was the halfway back long, triple bottom, came up, broke the swing high, broke the opposing 61.8, and then pulled back nicely to 44.02 and a quarter. And the full halfway back at the time looked like this. So the 50% was way up here, and this was the pullback to the 50 long. And at that time, we'd been just riding along this uptrend line. And so 7:06 came right about here. We kind of were right at the uptrend line. So that was a really good long setup, 44.02 1/4. Basically had no heat, just enough to get a fill, and then trailing your stop behind the next retracement. And then when we started going up really quickly and getting closer to this 50% short, that was the point I switched from trailing the retracements, trailing the 61.8 to trailing each candle, and I got out somewhere right about here, just below the 50% short. And I like to get more aggressive with my trail stop when we're approaching a 50% like that, because we have a good chance to reverse. And I was quick enough today to get out of the long, so that one was good for about 5 points plus the 3-point first target per contract, and then get short just shortly after, right here on this inverted hammer. And so that one went short here, and it didn't end up rolling over too far. Got maybe I think a 1/2 point out of it before we bounced, and then we pulled back into the next kind of halfway back long. Now this one is kind of a take it or leave it. The short traded first, and we're within the 30-minute range. We had the bounce off the bottom of the 30-minute range. We dipped below, and we really didn't get any hard selling. Came back in, dipped below again, came back in, and that was kind of that triple bottom. So taking this hammer off the 50% is fine, and it's also fine to pass on if you're concerned that we're within the 30-minute range. At the time, you're like, this is our day. Steady downtrend, but then bounce at the bottom of the 30-minute range. You trade at the halfway back short, and you get some resistance or get some support at the halfway back long. And the nice thing here is this candle is only 1.75 points. So by the time you put your entry and your stop, you're looking at 2.25 points of risk. And so you're really not risking that much. And that's the great thing about these 1-minute setups. If you want to get in, you're tightening your stop very quickly just by trailing the next candle. And that one ran for a few points, and that was a nice little push. We didn't quite make it to the top of the 30-minute range though, up here at 44.1850, and then we just pretty much died off and went sideways, or kind of stuck right in the middle of the range, and then traded to the bottom of the range. And then this guy took at the end of the day here, right at the end of the morning session, little hammer right at the bottom of the 30-minute range again. Again, really small, 1.5, and just kind of trailed each candle. That one went for a point or so. So not a whole lot of follow through there, and then we rolled over, went sideways again. So not a ton of opportunities today. Like I said, still sitting in that 15-minute short. We'll see if that does anything. Otherwise, probably just kind of peter out in the middle of the 30-minute range here into the close. And then it'll be important to see what we do tomorrow. If we gap up at lows, that's definitely viable. When you are gapping up at lows, that's one to buy. When you're gapping down at highs, that's one to sell. So like here, we gapped down at what I would call highs because the market had moved up. So that's when you want to sell. If you're here and you're gapping up coming off a low, that's when you want to buy. Like here, we gapped up coming off a low. Here, gapped up coming off a low. Whereas like, let's see, looking for a gap down at lows. I guess today you could say a gap down at lows. Yeah, if you sold the open, you might be able to catch a few points off the first run, but since we've already moved down in the trend, you don't want to be chasing it by selling a gap down, after we've already moved down. So keep my eye on this trend line here, and more importantly, the 61.8. So watch 43.70 and 43.50 if we move lower tomorrow. Otherwise, if we close like with a hammer today and we gap up, we may just be right back up in our kind of run up towards all-time highs. So next week will be very helpful to kind of get us a direction on the fall here, and hopefully our volatility continues to kick up a little bit, kind of it's still pretty low, but if we can get up to like the low 20s or mid 20s, that would also help increase our ranges on the day. So hope you have a great week, and hope you had a great week and stayed out of trouble with the Fed meeting. If you have questions, you can drop them in the comments below, and we'll talk to you soon.